Welcome back, Focus Learners. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. Okay, I want you to do me a quick favor. Just close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're sitting directly across from a hiring manager. You're right there in the hot seat of an HR interview. The room is completely quiet, the stakes are super high, and the interviewer looks up from your resume, locks eyes with you, and asks a question that is, well, practically as old as the modern workplace itself. It's one of those questions that literally trips up thousands of candidates every single day. Not because it's highly technical, but because it feels kind of like a trick. Today, we're going to crack that question wide open using some incredible crowdsourced wisdom from the India Bix interview forums. What is the difference between hard work and smart work, right? If you've ever interviewed for a job, you've probably heard some variation of this exact prompt. And honestly, on the surface, it feels incredibly cliche. It feels like they just want you to spout out some cheesy motivational poster quote. But what we're about to uncover in this explainer is that there's actually a profound, hidden depth to this question. How you answer this tells the interviewer exactly how you approach problem solving, time management, and even your own professional growth. So we're not going to give you a generic cookie-cutter answer. Instead, we're going to break down the whole philosophy of work itself. Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1. The brute force approach. Let's really understand hard work. Before we can even think about optimizing anything, we really need to understand the raw material of effort. So we're starting with some fundamental definitions gathered from forum users Anu and Kavya. They basically break it down to its most basic physical components. Hard work is characterized by putting in a whole lot of effort, clocking in long hours, and, as Kavya notes, working for a long period of time without taking rest. It's the sheer, unadulterated volume of physical or mental time that you're pouring into a task, literally just rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty. A forum user named Chavi summarizes this perfectly, saying, hard work is about brute force, putting in long hours and sheer determination. Notice the vocabulary here, brute force. It implies pushing against resistance through pure willpower. It's not necessarily elegant, and sure, it might not be the absolute fastest route from point A to point B, but it is undeniable motion powered by sheer determination. Now, I know it's incredibly easy to dismiss brute force as kind of outdated, right? Especially in our modern, super tech-driven world. But users Sanchit and Maruthi actually make a vital defense of hard work. It's not just sweating for no reason. Hard work requires intense patience, and it absolutely demands consistency. And most importantly, as Maruthi points out, it actually sharpens the human brain and builds a necessary strong foundation. Think about it. When you're forcing your way through a difficult problem step by step, you're basically building mental calluses. You're learning the intricacies of the task intimately, and honestly, that's a foundational step you simply cannot skip. Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds into shifting to smart work, where we focus on efficiency. So, we've established the foundation of sweat and effort. But what happens when the demands of the job outpace the actual hours in a day? Well, if hard work is about the volume of effort, smart work is all about the quality and efficiency of that effort. Insights from users Janani and Kiran really help us define this. Smart work means using the right strategy, the right tools, and proper prioritization to get way better results in less time. It completely shifts the focus away from those traditional, exhausting methods and places a massive premium on efficiency and effectiveness. You're no longer just asking, how hard can I push? You're stepping back and asking, wait, is there a better way to push? Consider this absolutely brilliant analogy from a user named Swathi. She says, hard work is carrying the box on her shoulders. Smart work is placing the box on a slider to reach the destination. I love that. In both scenarios, the box gets to the destination, right? But in the first one, you arrive totally exhausted, your back aches, and you probably can't carry another box that day. In the second scenario, you've used a tool, a slider, to just eliminate the friction. The destination is exactly the same, but the human cost is drastically lower. And this brilliantly illustrates the philosophical core of the whole debate, which is captured once again by user Chavi. We have hard work defined as doing things right, meaning you're following the instructions to the letter, executing the process flawlessly, even if the process itself is painfully slow. Conversely, we have smart work, doing the right things. This is all about strategy. It's taking a step back and asking if the process itself is even necessary. It's prioritizing the tasks that actually move the needle and ruthlessly eliminating or automating the rest. To really ground this philosophy in pure reality, let's look at an incredibly timely example from user Sahil. Just think about the modern workplace for a second. Before artificial intelligence, tasks like data processing, drafting repetitive emails, or summarizing long documents, they required hours of manual hard work. You literally had no choice but to use brute force. But after the introduction of AI tools, achieving those exact same tasks becomes smart work. You leverage the model to do the heavy lifting, saving your precious cognitive energy for higher level review and strategy. Game changer, right? Which brings us to Section 3, Bridging Hard and Smart. Let's look at the evolution. Now, an interviewer asking you this question is very often just waiting to see which side you're going to choose. But here's the secret. Choosing a side is actually a trap. User Osman Khatun provides this standout insight that completely reframes the whole conversation. They say, smart work comes with experience. There is no smart work without hard work. Think about that. Hard work and smart work aren't enemies, and they certainly aren't an either-or choice. They are a chronological evolution. You literally cannot put the box on the slider until you've carried it on your shoulders long enough to realize just how heavy it is and long enough to understand the mechanics of the floor beneath you. Asman proves this with a fantastic real-world example of learning Java programming. Step 1. Hard work. When Asman started, it was all about practicing daily and painstakingly fixing errors one by one. It was pure brute force. Step 2 is gaining experience. Those grueling hours built serious pattern recognition. And finally, Step 3 is smart work. Armed with that hard-earned experience, Asman can now write better code in significantly less time. So the efficiency of Step 3 was entirely funded by the sweat of Step 1. Make sense? Hard work builds strength, while smart work saves time. If you only work hard, you're eventually going to burn out, for sure. But if you try to only work smart from day one without actually understanding the fundamentals, you're going to build a really fragile system that just collapses under pressure. Ultimate success in any career requires a combination of both. You build the strength first, and then, and only then, you use that strength to invent systems that save you time. So, the crucial point is how to apply this. Welcome to Section 4, Formulating the Perfect Answer, the Interview Blueprint. So how do we actually take all this crowdsourced wisdom and turn it into the ultimate response? Well, here is your step-by-step blueprint derived directly from the collective knowledge we've just reviewed. When the interviewer drops this question on you, first, define both concepts really clearly. Show them you truly understand the difference between raw effort and efficiency. Second, frame hard work not as a negative thing, but as the absolute necessary foundation that builds character and deep knowledge. Third, frame smart work as the natural evolution of that hard work, where your experience allows you to leverage tools and strategy. And finally, conclude with the ultimate punchline. The absolute best results don't come from choosing one over the other, but from seamlessly combining both. By answering this way, you're showing the interviewer that you are definitely not afraid to roll up your sleeves and do the grueling foundation building, but you also have the strategic mind to optimize processes once you actually understand them. You are both the hard worker and the smart innovator. So I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you prepare for your next big opportunity. How will you use your foundation of hard work to slide the box in your next role? Think about that, really internalize it, and go crush that interview. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.